Yo, what is good, guys? So welcome back to another raw and rapid anime review. If you guys missed the last one, we just did Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. If you want to see that, a little pop-up will show up, so you can go watch that. And just like in the last one, I'm not using a script this time. It's going to be completely unscripted, and so I might stutter with my words a little bit. I might, get lost or whatever, but I'm just trying to get better at making these videos without a script, because that's where I want to go. I want to get to the point where I can just start recording and make these videos. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Other animes you want me to review? I'm always looking for new anime to watch and animes to review. I've seen a decent amount. My MAO will be in the bio, so you can go check that out if you want. And from here on out, I'll probably do an episode of these every time I finish an anime. I'm probably not gonna go back and do animes I've finished in the past unless I rewatch them or if I just have a lot to say about them. But because a lot of animes I've seen in the past, I just don't really have my full thoughts on the show. So unless I rewatch them, I don't think I'd be able to give my full thoughts on it. So I'll probably just do animes I finish from this point on, which probably be like one every few weeks, maybe once a week. I don't know. It depends on how fast I finish these shows. Currently, I'm rewatching Toradora for the second time, so my third time watching, and I'll probably do a review on that because it was my first romance anime, and I do have a certain connection with it. I'll probably make a review on that in the next week or so. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys are looking forward to those, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on notifications. And yeah, let's get right into the next raw and rapid review. Alright, so for today, we are reviewing the anime Barakamon. In the last video, I mentioned that I was watching it, and yeah, I finished it. I watched it in about a few days. It was interesting, to say the least. I'm not going to say it was really good, but it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't something that, exceeded my expectations, but it also... okay. I'm going to say this now. I had high expectations for the show, which is kind of my fault. Mainly because on MAL, the rating was like an 8.3. And if you know MAL, you know an 8.3 is a pretty high rating for a show. Any show with above an 8.2, 8.10 rating is probably going to be a banger of a show. So when I saw it was 8.3, I was like, oh shit, this show's something special. There's going to be something, really lovable about this show. So that's kind of what I thought going into it. And I'm not saying that it's not a special show. It just, for me personally, it didn't really resonate with me in that way. I didn't really feel for it in that sense. But yeah, it wasn't bad at all. So I will say I was a bit underwhelmed, but it is my fault for going in with high expectations. So overall, I think this was a very, very enjoyable show. It was very funny at times. It was a very easy to love cast of characters. If you guys don't know the plot of the show, I'll give you a brief rundown. So basically, this artist dude, or no, he's a calligrapher, right? He writes calligraphy, and one day, the boss or whatever it's the director of the thing he works for, is looking at one of his calligraphy works, and he's kind of critiquing it in a way, and the MC just loses it. He runs up, punches him in the face, and for that, they send him to this kind of They sent him to this remote island in the middle of nowhere to kind of learn and find himself again in calligraphy. And I don't really know why. I think that's why they sent him there. I don't really know. But yeah. So basically, it's about him on this island, a bunch of random people, and he's just trying to find his passion again, find his spark. So he's trying to find inspiration from all the random things on the island, from the people there, and things like that. And it's basically just him trying to try to find his passion for calligraphy again. I mean, he already has the passion, but trying to find he's trying to find a new style in a way. So it's kind of just him about trying to find his way with calligraphy, I guess. And he does that through the characters and through the setting, the island, the atmosphere, and everything. It kind of resets his mind and gives him a whole new perspective on life. By the end of the series, there's a nice little parallel in the beginning of the series when he gets to the island. He's riding on this tractor. He's looking around. He's like, "Oh, this is all boring. There's nothing here." He's like, "There's an ocean." He looked at it and he was like, he's basically just calling it boring, saying it's just in the middle of nowhere, nothing special about it. At the end of the series, he does the same thing, and he's like, "Well, the beauty behind it is that there is nothing to it. There's nothing special about it, and that's what makes it so beautiful." So that's just a cool little parallel I found that I thought was interesting. Show that his perspective changed just from living on that island. And then through the characters, like I said, he does it as well. He's take care of these little kids or whatever. There's these little kids all around the island that annoy him when he's trying to do his calligraphy. And basically, just over time, he has to get used to them. They're always bothering him, And then over time, he starts to care for them, and all he really wants to do is protect them. He doesn't want them to get hurt in any way. So yeah, it's just a show about him like messing around with these little kids, these girls, whatever, and yeah, that's about it. And he's just trying to re-find his passion for calligraphy throughout it. So overall, it was a pretty decent story. Nothing too intense, nothing too crazy. But it was still good. It was still an enjoyable watch. I found the characters to be pretty enjoyable as well. The main little girl character, whatever and when I first started watching it, I did not like her at all. I thought she was very annoying. I was like, I'm not. This is just gonna get annoying over time. But actually, after a few episodes, I got used to her because the main character kind of also got used to her and stopped getting. I mean, he still got annoyed at her, but like not as much. And he obviously started caring for her more, and all the other kids too. Like the sense of community that this village had, like everyone knew each other, everyone was such close friends. It was just very wholesome, and it was just a good vibe overall. The one problem I have with the show is the last few episodes and the ending. I think that's not really where it fell off. I mean, it didn't fulfill my needs. It didn't like it was underwhelming is what I'm looking for. It was very underwhelming for what the show had to offer. So I'm gonna drop a spoiler here because I feel like it's important for me to talk about to fully get my point across. So if you plan on watching this, haven't seen it yet, you might want to either click out this video now or skip ahead. So basically, in the last few episodes, he gets a call back from like the agency thing, like, hey, you should come back to Tokyo. We want you back at this place. We want you back working here. And he was like, okay, I'll accept. I'll go back. And so basically, all of these people that he's been building a connection with, spending time with on the island, they obviously all care for each other. He's decided to go back to Tokyo and leave the island, right? And he doesn't tell anyone that he's doing this. He just decides to and then leaves. And I feel like the show fumbled so hard here because they had such a big opportunity to make this a more dramatic, more emotional part of the story, but they just didn't. The episode where he leaves, they go to like a summer festival thing, which is nice. It's wholesome. They watch fireworks and they eat cotton candy and stuff. Whatever, it's fun. But then he kind of just leaves. And I feel like if they kind of dragged it out, made it way more dramatic, it would have just stuck with me a lot more because the whole show leading up to this point, it shows that they all care for each other. They're all living on this island together, and the last thing you want to imagine is them being separated. But that's what the show does. In episode 10, he just leaves, and like that is supposed to be like a very emotional and dramatic part of the series, but they just kind of just like move on like it's just part of the show. And then the next two episodes, they just feel like every other episode. It's not more intense, it's not more dramatic, there's not any more higher stakes. And I feel like near the end of the show, they should have definitely done that. They should have made it more dramatic, made it more intense per se. Even though there's not really an intense story, they could have done something to make it feel like more intense, because they didn't. They just moved on like, oh, everything's fine. The people from the village, they didn't really seem to care that he left without telling them. They just called him on the phone and was like, hey, don't do that, come back sometime soon. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought they just should have made it way more dramatic, because it hit me way harder, and it would have just made me like feel a lot more. But they just didn't. And then the last episode, obviously, it's him just doing calligraphy, and then he goes back to the island, and they're like, welcome back, and then the show ends. And I think, like I said, they fumbled. They could have just made it way more dramatic, and they could have just made it way more serious. And if they did that, I feel like it would have been a way more memorable ending, and it would have like impacted me, not really impacted me, but stuck with me a lot more, and I would have felt it a lot more. Okay, so enough slander, but the few things I did like I said earlier, the characters, I thought they were very enjoyable. I liked some of the relationships that they had with each other. I think seeing the Honda sensei, the main character, slowly start to care for them more and more. He doesn't want to see them get hurt. That's the last thing he wants. And it's just very wholesome to see him grow and change that way over time. I don't know their names, but they were like the two older girls. I thought they were pretty funny too. It was a very funny show. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of funny comedy moments in here. There's just a lot. I'm not even gonna list them, but I'll show a few on screen. But yeah, I just thought it was a very funny anime. All the characters felt like they fit in just well. They weren't any too annoying characters. And it was just very wholesome. Yeah, overall the feel of the show was good. A very nice vibe. I liked the setting of the island and like everything. So overall, I think this was a very decent show. I think there was really nothing wrong with the show, but they just could have done way more. Like what they did was fine and it was good. It was decent. but they just missed out on having such a greater story, I feel like, with what I stated earlier about the ending. So yeah, overall, not a bad show, not a bad show at all. Definitely, if you're interested in a wholesome slice of life comedy anime, where some guy trying to learn how to find his passion in calligraphy again, whatever, give it a watch. It's only 12 episodes. Very good opening, very good ending, by the way. I love the visuals, very good. Yeah, the animation was fire in the show too. Last episode I forgot to state about the animation in Nichijou and the songs, but I love all of that in there. So overall, my rating for Barakamon is going to be a solid 8 out of 10. I think this is the most 8 out of 10 show I've ever seen, because I liked it. There was not a single episode where I was like, dude, this is boring. Let me just get through it. I enjoyed each and every episode. I was not bored. I liked every episode. I liked the characters. I liked the setting. But I was expecting a lot more, and the ending I really felt unsatisfied by the ending. For me, endings are a huge thing, if you don't know. For me, like, an ending can make a show a 10 out of 10 versus an 8 out of 10. For example, Code Geass, if you guys know, it's one of my favorite animes of all time. I got that collector's box thing right there. Whatever. I love Code Geass. Before I witnessed Code Geass's ending, and no spoilers, by the way, so don't worry. Before I saw Code Geass ending, it was not in my top 5, right? I was on the last episode. I was like, yeah, it was a good show, whatever. And then I saw that last episode, and it instantly went to my number 2, one of my favorites of all time. And it just made me love the show 10 times more. So for me, an ending can be a game changer. It can literally mean anything. So when a show has an unsatisfying or unfulfilling ending, it just makes me be like, damn, like that, whatever. But like, for example, if a very mid show has a very amazing ending, it's instantly going to be a better show in my mind. Like, I'm gonna love it way more. So overall, if you guys are interested, go watch Barakamon. It's very decent, very wholesome anime, very funny. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode of Raw and Rapid. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want me to review. Comment down anime suggestions as well, because like I said, I want to do these like right as I finish the show, so my thoughts are fresh and new, and I don't have to go rewatch the shows. So yeah, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.